I'm reading from a piece called Shades of Calm that I had written last year, I think. Tranquility, a state of mind, an individual's unique perspective. It's all relative, after all. The atlas of my life, looking back, suggested many alternate routes to choose on my journey. Funny thing, choice. I didn't see choice on my journey. I saw walls, many walls, but no choice. Little did I realize, if I chose an alternative window to look through, how different the horizon could be. My name is Barbara Langford, and this is The Way I See Red. I hope you enjoy it. The one thing with living with pain is, for me, it pushes my mind to its limits at times, and by absorbing my thoughts, by immersing them in colour or design, even in looking at design photographs or films. For me, that's like food. It is, oh my God, it's flavour, it's taste, it's everything. You know, I just get so enthusiastic when I see an edgy design. When I started, it would have been when I was really, really small with my rag dolls. And I would sit in the doorway of my bedroom, having the light from the hall, and still either sketching or sewing bits. I was useless. I mean, I was so useless. But I had this great notion that, not even a great notion actually, it was more like a wish that I could make something great, that I could do something great. So yeah, started creating from when I was really young, and then I had my first very, very small portfolio of work together when I was a teenager, and I met with a designer, Michael Mortel, here in town, and he looked at it and he said, yeah, he was really impressed, but I would need to travel, that I needed more exposure, that I didn't have enough depth of experience in my designs. But coming from a very close-knit family, it was just not an option. My parents both said no, so that shattered me entirely. So I did the most awful thing. They put me in a secretarial course, and I absolutely hated it to bits and pieces. And from there I went into the travel industry. But my desire was always that edge, that aspect of making something beautiful in the world, whether that was architecturally or just in how we meet people, because how we behave with people is a form of art as well, and in how we treat them in very different situations. So I suppose it's always been art and music. Music carries me, it holds me when I'm in pain. I just absolutely love it. And I see colour in the piano and guitar, you know, it's like it opens up just another part of my mind, and it becomes an explosion of colour that is otherwise dormant.
I came over to Cork. It was my first time in Cork for my best friend's wedding. David was marrying a girl from Cork called Lorraine, who was Bobby's brother's fiancée. Bobby's brother unfortunately died in the late 90s of sudden adult death syndrome. That was the first time Bobby and I really saw each other. We then didn't see each other for 5 or 6 years.
Yes.
So you turned up at the airport, and
At one stage in the day, it all progressed very quickly. He caught my hand and he stayed holding it, and for me it felt so inappropriate, and at the same time there was a sense of tranquility in it. There was something almost like something in his veins traveled through his arm and into my hands, and it was just beautiful. It was so natural. That meeting, leaving each other, for me it felt like it could never really be. It wasn't going to be a reality in the future. So I did leave feeling, and I did comment at that time, that if I did die that moment, I would die so happy, because it was my first time experiencing such love and peace and tranquility and just like nirvana. For him to become this person who now needs to interpret what I'm trying to say, who has to manage me from a hospital bed.
Bobby was a little resistant to getting the hospital bed because you associated it with your mother,
Yes.
who was bedridden.
Yeah.
Plus, also as a piece of furniture, it's not exactly stylish and doesn't fit in with the decor. We were joking when we got the frame for the loo and the walking frame and the hospital bed. We could actually think about starting up a business to pimp your disability aids to make them look cooler and better. Prior to the hospital bed arriving, to get Bobby to sit up slightly could take 15 to 20 minutes to reorganise cushions to get them in a comfortable position.
Because
and you'd need to do
I have
that.
spinal pain, constant spinal pain. But once I've been sleeping, it's at its very worst in the morning if I've had any spell of sleep. And the longer I sleep, the worse the pain in my spine is in the morning. So it's rigid, so to try and move, and also I've damage to my neck. And so all of that motion to the upper body is excruciating. And then the fact of having had both hips replaced as well, it really complicated the whole matter of mobility.
I thought the way you described it earlier today, as if you had barbed wire running through your body, was a very approachable way of describing the pain you feel to other people. One of the things is to get the limbs used to moving, and with the hospital bed, the knees
Yes.
rise up and take that down, move the limbs a little, then raise the knees up again, adjust to a slightly different position, and then help Bobby to sit up.
And the final part is the worst.
Yeah.
For Sai, it's the worst.
And then getting you standing up.
Because for Sai, to get me to stand at that stage, already just sitting and getting accustomed to my bones in a new position, that is exceedingly painful. And so in order for me to stand, I grab hold of Sai under his arms, and he pulls me up, and he knows every time that I'm going to cry with the pain.
there's a difference between normal levels of pain and screaming levels of pain. And it's painful when it gets to screaming levels. Last time before, when you were taken by ambulance to hospital, when the pain was, when intravenous morphine wasn't controlling it, and you were beating your head against the side of the ambulance and the guy had to hold your head still, that sort of thing is harrowing.
I don't know how Simon does it, and I don't mean to make it sound like he's out of the ordinary entirely, but he is pretty extraordinary insofar as I can't imagine trying to survive the level I am at without his constant optimism. Prior to this, I used to be optimistic, but I've gotten so worn out from pain that at this stage I didn't want to wake up another morning and have to go through this. My pain does not stop. It stays and then it heightens and then decreases. So in my first glimpses in the morning, he is my only hope. I believe my brain to be a very clever and quite deceiving part of my physical self. I believe the brain is limited by actual experience, whilst my being has perception and awareness beyond the knowledge of its experience. On my journey, especially in my teenage years, I struggled, as many did, with what am I going to be? What am I going to do? The questions demanded an answer I could not provide. Now I realize that while I was caught up in what I was going to be, that I already was, in those moments, being. I feel guilt isn't even the appropriate word. It's almost like, does anyone deserve it? You know, what have I brought into his life? What have I possibly given to him? That how different would his life be if he had never met me? And I felt for Si, it almost was not fair any longer, that this relationship that is supposed to be one of, as you can imagine, a normal husband and wife and partnership and of love, of physical relationship, a 24-hourly regime for Si. You know, I think he gets exhausted from my asking him constantly, are you happy? Or, you know, why do you love me? Because I find it very difficult to understand how I can be loved when there is this constant, it's a constant, he interprets my every need and tries to minimize the movement or the pain. So how can you love somebody when this is your life with them? It is a little bit like, what color is red, you know? And there are so many shades of it, amazing shades of it, and that's one color in the full spectrum. That if you just take that on its own, and how different people see it, and even you put that same red, whether it's the flower here and it's pink or it's purple, later in the evening that becomes so dark, it's almost purple, so it's still red, but it's not. It's unique. I would love people to be able to take from this documentary an observation that I had the other day, and that was, I was outside cleaning up the lower patio, and I couldn't get all of the leaves into the bin, and each time I went to brush them up again and more blew away, and I thought, my God, you know, it's just, if we could treat our problems in life, it doesn't matter whether you live with illness or you don't live with illness, we all still have struggles in life, and the leaves reminded me of it. It doesn't matter how much you try to sweep them up and put them all in a bin, more are going to come along anyway. But I think if we can treat them more lightly and, like the leaves, let them blow past a little bit.
Rainfall like crystal sands in your eyes, on your head.